You've been disciplined. You've cut expenses, skipped luxuries, invested every spare rupee or dollar. You've done everything the financial gurus preach, month after month, year after year. And yet, 5 years later, you check your investment account and it barely looks different. The numbers are small, the growth almost invisible. You start to wonder if this whole compounding thing is just a myth. You think to yourself, is this all really worth it? That feeling, that doubt, that frustration, it's not your fault. It's how compounding plays with your mind. Because the first few years of compounding are painfully slow. They feel like failure. You're putting in the work, staying consistent, and seeing no reward. It's like planting a seed in the ground, watering it every day, and seeing nothing but dirt for months. But here's what no one tells you. Those early years are not the harvest. They're the setup. Silent, invisible, boring, but necessary. Then, something shifts. One day, the numbers begin to move a little faster, then they double, then triple, and suddenly you're seeing more gains in a few months than you saw in your entire first 5 years. You didn't change your strategy. You didn't invest more. All you did was wait. This is the hidden power of compounding. It starts off crawling, almost testing your patience, daring you to quit, then it accelerates like a rocket. And if you stay in the game long enough, it rewards you in ways that seem almost unfair. In this video, I'm going to show you why the first 5 years feel like failure, when the breakthrough happens, and how the smartest investors use this exact principle to build ridiculous levels of wealth, quietly, steadily, and eventually, explosively. Stay with me till the end, because once you truly understand this, you'll never look at money, time, or success the same way again. Let's start with why the first 5 years of compounding feel like failure. Number 1, progress looks invisible, but it's not. In the beginning, compounding is brutally slow. You invest 1,000 rupees, and a year later, you have 1,080 rupees. You're excited at first, but by year 2 or 3, you feel like something's wrong. You've been consistent, maybe even increased your monthly investment. But the number on the screen doesn't match the vision you had in your head. It feels like the needle isn't moving. But here's the trick. The growth is happening, just not fast enough for your brain to feel it. Humans are wired for linear progress. We expect results like 1 becomes 2, then 3, then 4. But compounding works exponentially, and in the early stages, exponential growth looks like nothing. It's a flat, boring line. There are no fireworks, no dopamine spikes, just slow, methodical growth that your eyes can barely detect. You feel like a failure because you're measuring success by short-term outcomes, not long-term momentum. What you don't see is the silent compounding power building underneath, like pressure under the Earth's surface before an earthquake. Most people mistake this silence for failure and quit. But in reality, you're laying down a financial foundation so powerful that future you will thank you for not giving up. It's not failure. It's financial patience disguised as boredom. But this is the setup for explosive results. The rich don't get rich by seeing instant results. They get rich by waiting longer than everyone else. Number 2, your mind doesn't trust what it can't measure. In those first 5 years, your brain constantly whispers, "This isn't working." Why? Because the results are too small to feel satisfying. You're comparing your compounding journey to stories on social media, people showing 10x returns, luxury cars, crypto spikes. Your progress feels microscopic in comparison. This is where most investors lose. Not to bad markets, not to poor strategy, but to mental fatigue. Our brains crave proof. We need feedback, validation, a sign that we're on the right path. But compounding doesn't care about your feelings. It works silently, behind the curtain, like a seed germinating under soil. And because the rewards aren't immediate, your brain assumes it's all a waste. This internal battle between logic and emotion is why 90% of people never experience the magic of compounding. They switch strategies, they stop investing, they pull out at year 4.9, right before the curve starts bending. It's tragic but predictable. And the irony? Compounding is working the entire time, but it works at a level the human brain can't feel in the beginning, until one day it becomes undeniable. But if you don't train your mind to trust the unseen, you'll never make it to that day. This is why the smart investors call compounding boring wealth. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's inevitable. if you stay in the game long enough. Number 3, the early results come from your pocket, not from the market. In the beginning, compounding feels like you're just depositing money into a black hole. Every month you're adding to your investment, but it doesn't feel like it's growing. It feels like you're just moving your hard-earned cash from your bank account into another screen that isn't giving anything back. That's because during the first few years, the majority of your portfolio's growth doesn't come from the compounding itself. It comes from you, your contributions. You might invest 10,000 rupees every month for 5 years. That's 6 lakh rupees of your money. And if your portfolio shows 6 lakh 60,000 rupees at the end of 5 years, you'll probably say, wait, all this time and I only made 60,000 rupees? But that's not failure. That's just the incubation phase. You're mistaking the source of growth. In year 1 to 5, your money hasn't had enough time to compound on itself. Most of the total balance is still you funding the system, not the system rewarding you. This phase is critical, but painfully unrewarding. Think of compounding like building a snowball. In the first few years, you're just packing snow, rolling it slowly. It's all manual labor. The hill isn't steep enough for it to roll on its own yet. You're pushing, sweating, seeing tiny results, and it feels unfair. But one day the snowball becomes just big enough to start rolling downhill. That's when you stop being the engine, and the snowball takes over. That tipping point is what 95% of people never reach. They look at their 5-year portfolio and say, this is a joke. But what they don't realize is this. The real magic begins after they stop trying to force results. Compounding doesn't ask for brilliance. It asks for belief. And that belief is tested hardest in the early years. Number 4, no external reward system keeps you motivated. Here's the cruel truth. No one claps for you when you invest. There's no confetti when you set up a SIP. No one gives you a trophy when you don't touch your stocks during a down year. Unlike a job or a business, there's no boss praising your discipline, no customer giving feedback, no paycheck coming every month. It's just silence. That silence breaks people because we're built to chase rewards. When we work hard, we want applause. When we show discipline, we want results. And compounding violates that need. It's a long, lonely game with no scoreboard in the beginning. The markets are indifferent. Your money doesn't thank you. And that emotional emptiness is where most people surrender. That's why compounding is more about psychology than finance. It's a mental sport. You're not just investing money, you're investing patience, faith, and emotional endurance. You're fighting boredom, doubt, and temptation every single month, and there's no fanfare to push you forward. Meanwhile, your friends are buying new phones, upgrading cars, taking trips. Their lifestyles give them visible rewards. Your journey gives you nothing visible, yet. That contrast makes it even harder. You're playing the long game in a world obsessed with instant wins. But here's the truth. The people who can delay gratification the longest win the loudest. The early phase of compounding is meant to test if you're ready for what comes next. It's a silent filter. It separates those who want wealth from those who just want the illusion of progress. No applause, no cheers, no reward system, just you. And the question, can you keep going when it feels like nothing is working? That completes the reasons why the first 5 years feel like failure. Now we'll break into when the breakthrough happens. It doesn't happen in year 1 or 2 or even 4, but sometime between year 6 and year 10, something magical, almost unfair begins to happen. At first it's subtle. You check your investment portfolio and realize, wait, this month I made more in returns than I contributed, and you think it's a fluke. But then it happens again and again, and before you know it, the money is working harder than you are. You reach a point where the engine no longer needs fuel. It's become self-sustaining. What once needed your monthly investment to grow is now producing more growth than your own effort ever could. Your wealth has momentum. This is the compounding flip point, the moment where time switches sides and starts working for you instead of against you. Here's how it feels. At first, you're walking up an invisible staircase in total darkness. You're unsure with every step. The steps are shallow. Every move feels like effort. You want to turn back. But one day the lights come on, and you're already halfway up the mountain. The climb starts to get easier, and suddenly the world below starts looking smaller. You feel power, not because you're lucky, but because you endured the invisibility phase. Mathematically, it's a point where your interest starts earning interest. For example, you invested 5 lakh rupees over 5 years. Your returns are small, maybe 80,000 rupees, but by year 7, you notice your returns have doubled, even though your contributions haven't. By year 9, your portfolio grows faster in a year than it did in your entire first 5 years combined. And by year 12, it can grow faster in 1 month than all your first-year contributions put together. That's not magic. That's math. Finally unleashed. Emotionally, it feels surreal. You feel like you cheated the system. While others were quitting and starting over, you were quietly compounding. While they got distracted chasing crypto spikes or gambling on trends, you built something invisible and unstoppable. You feel like you discovered a secret the rest of the world is still too impatient to learn. This is why people say compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. Because the first 5 years test your character, the next 5 years reward your conviction, and the rest of your life feels like you're surfing a wave you no longer have to paddle for. But here's what most people don't understand. This breakthrough is not sudden. It's gradual, but it feels sudden because humans don't notice slow changes until they hit a threshold. Think about fitness. You go to the gym for 6 months and see nothing. Then one day someone says, "Hey, did you lose weight?" And suddenly everyone starts noticing. But the truth is, you were changing the whole time. It just took a while for the results to become visible. Compounding works the same way. And here's the best part. Once the snowball starts rolling, it keeps going. Even if you stop pushing, even if your income drops, even if you take a break, even if you stop contributing for a while, the machine is now running off past momentum, and every additional rupee just supercharges the curve further. You no longer need to try hard. Now you need to protect. Protect your investments, protect your emotions, protect your time horizon. Because compounding, once triggered, is like gravity. It just keeps pulling you up, as long as you don't interrupt it. But that's why most never reach this point. They interrupt the process too early. They get bored, they get distracted, they chase what's trending, and they throw away 10 years of future wealth to solve a 10-minute emotional itch. So the breakthrough of compounding isn't just financial, it's spiritual. It's the reward for believing in something long before it gave you a reason to believe. It's the universe nodding and saying, "Now you get it." And once you experience this phase, your relationship with money changes forever. You stop rushing, you stop chasing. You realize the richest people didn't get there with better knowledge but with better behavior. Because compounding doesn't reward the smartest investor. It rewards the most patient one. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to know you're serious about building wealth the smart way. So comment below, "Compounding is power," and I'll know you're ready. Because next, we're going deep into exactly how the smartest investors on the planet use this invisible force to build ridiculous generational wealth without chasing, without timing, and without stress. Number 1, they start early, not because it's smart, but because it's unfair. The wealthiest investors aren't always the ones with the biggest paychecks. They're the ones who started when they had the smallest paychecks. Why? Because time is the most powerful force in compounding. More than money, more than market conditions, more than IQ. Starting early creates what we call the unfair advantage, the kind of edge that no amount of income can replicate later. Let's take 2 people. Raj starts investing 5,000 rupees a month at age 20 and stops at 30. Priya starts at 30 and invests 10,000 rupees a month all the way till 60th. By retirement, Raj ends up richer. Why? Because his early thousands had 30 more years to grow. Compounding rewards time more than effort. That's the game. The smartest investors don't wait for a high salary. They invest while broke, while scared, while learning. Because they understand that every year they delay, they're not losing 60,000 rupees a year. They're losing millions of future compounding power. They don't need to double their income. They just need to double their time in the game. And here's the wild part. Once compounding kicks in, your money is working 10 times harder than you. You're sleeping and it's building. You're eating and it's growing. You're living life. And it's compounding in the background like passive magic. The earlier you start, the more decades it has to run on autopilot. That's how you buy freedom. Not with income, but with early momentum. Number 2, they stay consistent through crashes, boredom, and hype cycles. Here's what separates the rich from the almost rich. The rich stay boringly consistent. They invest whether the market is red or green, whether the headlines scream crash or boom, whether crypto is exploding or real estate is cooling. They don't flinch. They don't pause. They automate and ignore. You'll never hear a billionaire say, "I stopped investing during that market correction." Because they know missing the best days in the market often happens when you try to avoid the worst days. And the cost of missing even a few of those big bounce back days is brutal. One bad timing decision can erase years of compounding momentum. Smart investors don't try to be perfect. They aim to be present. Present every month. Present every quarter. Present even when it feels pointless. Because compounding doesn't reward brilliance. It rewards loyalty. The moment you pause, your curve flattens. The moment you jump out and back in, you lose the magic window. They also ignore boredom. They're not looking for excitement. In fact, if their investments are exciting, they consider it a red flag. True compounding is dull. It's steady. It's reliable. It's like watching a tree grow, nothing for months. And then one day, it bears fruit forever. Consistency is their superpower. Because they understand that wealth isn't created in spurts. It's created in streaks. And the longer their streak of investing continues, the more unstoppable the compounding curve becomes. Number 3, they never interrupt the curve. No matter the emotion, this is where even intelligent people fail. They interrupt compounding. Maybe the market crashes. Maybe they read some fear-driven news. Maybe a family member says, "You should pull your money out now." And boom, they hit pause. They withdraw. They move funds. They kill momentum. The smartest investors treat their compounding curve like a sacred thing, a living engine, something not to be touched, tampered with, or manipulated. They respect the curve. They don't panic when the line dips. They zoom out. They play the long game. Why? Because they know what looks like a 20% drop in a single year is just a tiny blip in a 30-year chart. They've seen it happen before. They expect it to happen again. And they understand the truth. Interrupting compounding even once can set you back by years. The most dangerous decisions aren't made in market crashes. They're made in emotional crashes. And the elite investors train themselves to be emotionally bulletproof. They don't let fear, greed, boredom, or envy touch their strategy. It's locked, untouchable, automatic. Their rule is simple. Don't touch the compounding curve. Feed it, protect it, and let it run. That's how you take a modest portfolio and turn it into a multi-crore empire without ever needing a jackpot. So if this video gave you that spark, if it made you pause, think, or see your journey in a whole new light, don't let it end here. Tap the like button right now, not just for the algorithm, but as a promise to yourself that you're playing the long game. And hey, if you're someone who's been quietly showing up, learning, stacking knowledge, waiting for that breakthrough, I see you. Comment, "I'm in for the long game," so I know who's really building, silently, patiently, powerfully. Most people chase hacks, but the ones who build real wealth, they chase wisdom. And if that's you, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel isn't about noise, it's about mastery. And every new episode is designed to help you build something that lasts. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and join the tribe of long game thinkers who aren't just watching money grow, they're becoming the kind of person who never runs out of it. Until next time, stay patient, stay powerful, and remember, compounding rewards those who refuse to quit.